Rise and shine, Rwanda.
Good morning, you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Ivan Magwene.
And me, Peace Quizera. Coming up on Rise and Shine.
We bring you a debate on second-hand clothes.
We take a look at 250 taxi.
And in lifestyle, we catch up with Moses Twahirwa, model and designer behind Motions. Well, all that and more still to come, but first, let's meet the rest of the team. Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning, Ivan.
I feel like this. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Good morning, Chantal.
Good morning, Ivan.
I love the hair, though.
Thank you. It's real, though.
Okay. Just point out to people that hair is real.
Hair is real.
Morning, peaceful.
Mine is real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good morning, Ivan.
All right. All that and more to come. Of course, all those stories that they're giving us, even about realism. All those and more still to come. But first, we look at the stories making headlines. Now, of course, starting off with the local stories. And this one, I should say, is a universal story, but we focus more for our brothers and sisters in the Muslim religion. Muslims start their holy month of Ramadan. Now, of course, as you already know, I think this is what we call the holy month, and I'm so excited because I get to see my Muslim friends. But of course, we, for example, Christians are always waiting for the final day. But it's always an excitement when they start this because it's a very holy month, and they get to do a lot of amazing activities, get to come closer to God. And of course, for some people, this is also a time where they get to don't engage themselves in certain bad activities or any other activities. Not to say that they're always involved, but this is a holy month, so they're always up their game, and they're always praying and having more closure to God. What does this month, of course, bring, especially looking at your Muslim friends, Kalimba?
Well, I have some Muslim friends. Well, the past Eids, I haven't gotten many invites, but I call up my Muslim friends and wish them a good, holy Ramadan, and you never know.
Any message for our Muslims and brothers and sisters out there?
Well, we are all supporting you, of course, and we will try to, be supportive and not bring up issues of food and temptations. Let's just support them in this season, because I was in a Muslim school, and it can be quite tough in the beginning days, and then when they're finishing, it's like every day is just another day. But of course, it's something that teaches the rest of us to, the Christians maybe to, take our lenses and, pretty seriously. And, it's something that we admire for them, especially with the invites that we get for Eid. And we hope to share it with you guys this Ramadan.
Yes, and for our Muslim friends from the rest of the Rise and Shine team, would love to say Ramadan Kareem.
All right, now scientists in the United States are trying to grow human organs inside pigs. They have injected human stem cells into pig embryos to produce human pig embryos known as chimeras. Now, what does this... You had a frowning face. I just want to ask this question straight out to you. What clings into your head when you see such a headline?
It's just that doctors out there don't sleep. They're trying to do everything so that us human beings can live longer. Yeah, and they did it to grow, to develop
because
some
organs were not actually enough. In hospitals,
they can never be enough.
Yeah, there's shortages of organs, so now they have to find new ways of actually, bringing in organs, and they can't put them in other human beings.
And for me, I think what is most surprising, and when I look at a story like this, is how much of science can people go beyond. That right now. Okay, I have a few questions, because they're trying to actually, grow all these organs into like pigs. So what would happen? Would a pig behave if it was having a brain? What are some of the questions? Growing like a brain? Oh, I mean like a pancreas, and how does that happen? Cells, you know, human cells, cells of a pig? How do you,
well,
you know,
they
it's
kind
all
of-
a lot of science.
They kind of inject that into an embryo, and it goes on for usually 28 days.
So it
I
doesn't
could
like
say.
mature.
It doesn't mature to be a pig. It just to be,
It
you know,
copies
into
some
it's just it
characteristics
copies,
of,
of course, some characteristics. But if it's like a pancreas, then
And the
you know, it's
organs
not something
actually
that
bear
goes through your
human
brain.
cells. That's
Yes.
the whole point.
The
And
organs-
it can't have a brain.
Yeah, and you
of
find
a
that it's
human.
like 90% human cells, and
Yeah.
Yes.
the 10% is just
Which
for
can
it to
do
live.
with the human
love
body.
science.
Yes,
then.
and I love science, and I'm excited that at least people have invented this.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about the pigs, but it's okay. I think it's it's a good idea.
Now, of course, moving on to the region, South Sudan has resumed talks with South Sudan. South Sudan has resumed talks with Sudan regarding borders, revenues on oil, and relations. For you that has been following a little bit of business in South Sudan, and of course Sudan, tensions have not been that bad, I would say, even after independence. But what does issues like this to solve mean again, especially with South Sudanese independence? Does it cling anything to you, looking at the fact that they're looking at a region like Abyei, which is really, which is rich in oil? Sudan
yes.
looks at that because it's a very, you know, very resourceful place to go. And do you ever think independence over there will ever be?
Yeah, but I think in the first place, what caused the war was that it was more economical than even any other thing. So these negotiations bringing about balance in oil revenues, I'm very much supportive.
Do you honestly think that South Sudan has that that volume, I mean, even that capacity on the negotiation table to beat out and say we need to have a clear 50-50 deal?
I think they
Yeah,
can.
sure, they do, because the two countries, we have rebels in both countries, and each of the two countries, they've signed to, you know,
To make peace.
to make peace, and then chase all those rebels, fight the rebels together that are attacking either country. And then about the oil pipe, I think that benefits South Sudan, and South Sudan play. They have to pay royalties for the pipeline to pass in Sudan.
Yes.
So every country benefits. There are many interests that that will be met if these deals are successful. But you know, step by step.
All right, step by step, and of course we'll wrap up from that. Wait to see what comes out of these negotiations, please.
Yes, of course. Of course, moving on to our next story of the of today's trending topics. Alicia Keys has shunned the intense pressures being placed on women in the public eye, and women in general, by choosing to stop wearing makeup. How exciting is this? Now, I do not know how, you know.
It's Alicia Keys.
It's Alicia Keys. She's extremely beautiful, and I love the whole saying behind this. It's not just because she wants to make a scene or something like that. It's actually to help women embrace their actual beauty. Instead of going around and photoshopping their pictures and trying to wear too much makeup to cover up different things, it's actually to let, you know, your skin get used, or even people get used to you and know you for who you actually are.
Sure.
You know, the actual beauty, not all this covered up stuff. But Ivan, what's, you know, from a man's perspective, what comes into your head when you see, you know, something like this trending all over?
Yeah, just like I said, with evolution, especially in all these brands coming, you can actually change from one face to the other. You could be somebody in the morning and totally different at night because of this. I don't think the motive is just to look beautiful. I think I would be against it if she was just trying to say, no, she's beautiful, yo.
She is
Be
really
it Alicia Keys if she's beautiful or not. I mean, she's beautiful with makeup or not, no makeup. But I think the message is very important, because we have seen actually people go beyond just makeup. Now they're going for, you know, surgery, plastic surgery.
There's something called mascara.
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 Yeah, because eventually when women wake up a lot, it tends to come to men's side a lot. A bit. I mean, we look at the 70s, we used to have afros, crazy hair. But now you can't walk into an office, you know, looking like, a bit crazy, like more crazy than I look. And So, thanks to Alicia Keys, maybe.
Thanks to Alicia Keys. And
Are you going to embrace her idea or what?
Well, a few times, of course. Even
I do support her idea.
I do support her idea.
But we should take the message, not only the beauty part.
For sure. But also, I think
I dare you to come to
makeup.
say that.
I will, actually.
Yeah.
Then
there'll be a no makeup day.
There'll be a no makeup day.
All right, people, we dare her to come without makeup next Monday.
Next Monday?
Yes.
All right, so the Monday show, I will definitely try to come without makeup. But, of course, you do let us know what you think on our Twitter page and our different social medias to know, a little bit more about this and all the trending stories that we've been talking about.
And of course, as Peace was summing up on that same story, we're going to move on to another international story that, of course, is a little bit very, funny a little bit, but also very serious to note. This is Mark Zuckerberg. Now, he might run the world's biggest social networking site, but not even Mark Zuckerberg is immune to being hacked. The Facebook founder's accounts on sites including Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Pinterest appear to have been briefly compromised on Sunday. A hacker group called Our Mind, which has more than 40,000 Twitter followers, claimed responsibility. Now, the group bragged about their alleged hacks in a tweet and invited Mr. Zuckerberg to contact them.
Wow.
I mean, how does that feel? Like, okay, honestly speaking, hacking is not good. But of all things, you even hack the master of, he's the Facebook guy. Not everyone expects to hack somebody like Mark Zuckerberg. I mean,
I think these people want to show that we are actually out here and we can even do more.
And to make sure that they poke him on Twitter to say that, can you check it out? We just hacked you, yo. And of course, his comments were a little bit not that happy, but he was a little bit surprised also. Get out of here, man! Like,
it's actually crazy because the coming generation. I'm sorry, you guys, but the generation after ours is going to be crazy smart. And I understand seeing people already hack into systems. Then we do not actually know what's going to happen in the next few years because the more people spend time on computers, the more people spend time on different social medias is when they kind of tend to learn new things. At least it also happens with us sometimes. So I'm not actually surprised that some people out there are able to hack into Mark's accounts, but it's quite surprising.
They say this password was weak.
Yes.
And, these people are targeting many people. They've hacked into 2 million accounts, and, to be hacked into, you have to be somebody. So I worry if I'm somebody in the future.
I know.
Somebody made.
Like, this is a guy who's estimated to be worth $51 billion US. That means he has very highly secure information and he's very secure in terms of the way he manages his accounts. So if these people can actually hack into their account, and that's what we've seen. It's actually been most people have been complaining about Facebook that we're being hacked, with all these bad images and bad videos where people have been,
popping
it's
up
displayed
on your timeline and everything.
Yes, and it's very bad. But of course, that's take, and we hope something there could also give us a lesson to learn that you actually need to be more safer on the internet. Now, moving on, we're going to be back, of course, with our story of the day. She's gonna say that. We'll be back then. Welcome back to Rise and Shine, Wonder Story of the Day with me, Ivan Magwene. Now, March this year, in a convention of the East African community leaders in Tanzania, a resolution to ban second-hand clothes was proposed to be implemented. Now, the reaction to this decision has been that of mixed feelings from both the consumers and the manufacturers of textiles in the region. Currently, the East African community countries import considerable amount of second-hand textile and footwear. Despite being a small region, its imports increased from $100 million in 2001 to over $300 million in 2014, a quarter of what the entire African continent imports, which is close to $1.2 billion in total. So with numbers like this, how much of effect will the ban of second-hand clothes have on the region? Now, before we open up the conversation here, insights of some of the reaction, and this is courtesy of VOA. Take a look.
Suleiman Kamau has been selling second-hand clothes for 12 years at the toy market here in Kibera. He's worried about the proposed regional ban on second-hand clothes.
It's a bad blow because I'm educated. I went to school. I'm cool. I have a diploma, but I'm not employed. There's no employment. So this was my source of income. Instead of engaging in other illegal activities, this was the best.
Not only do sellers like Kamau depend on this trade for their living, but Kenyans also depend on it for affordable clothes. The goal of the ban would be to encourage local Kenyan industry. Economists agree that Africa needs to produce more finished products. The recent economic downturn in China has only highlighted the limits and risks of commodities-based growth. Industry leaders in Kenya support the ban.
If we have an opportunity where we're able to sell these goods in our local market, it then leads to the growth of that industry. And the second-hand traders, in my view, would also be able to sell these clothes in the local market because it's not limited to who can trade in manufactured clothes. So they would replace the product and sell it with locally manufactured goods.
Alpha Knits has been producing garments outside Nairobi for about 40 years. The business employs 600 people. Today, Director Hiran Bedi checks fabric quality. He says it will take more than an import ban for him to compete with mitumba, the Swahili word for used clothes.
If the power cost doesn't go down, then the cost will remain high, and then we cannot compete against the mitumba. So there are certain factors which need to be addressed by government to help us get reasonable pricing for the people who are going to stop buying mitumba.
An Alpha Knit sweater currently retails for about $5. That's about double what it costs to buy one second-hand.
And joining us today in studio are the East African Community Youth Ambassadors Platform. Welcome to the studios.
Thank you.
I mean, looking at this decision, it was one decision that most of the East African community citizens, I would say, were so surprised to, because it came with mixed reaction. Very good news maybe for the manufacturers. Somehow they say it could favor them. But also, let's think about the consumer. But before I even ask you more of these questions, I'd love to know, what is your own opinion about this same policy thing that is trying to be addressed? Outside of maybe from the other side with Henry.
Well, my opinion is that I think it is something that can affect the consumers, but it is also something that can affect the producers.
How does it affect the consumer?
It affects the consumers because a large number of people consume second-hand clothes vis-a-vis those that consume first-hand clothes. And it can also affect the consumers because a large number of people depend on second-hand clothes in the first place. And the reason is because they are much, much cheaper and more affordable and even long-lasting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your opinions?
Well, for me, it's my first reaction was, okay, this is a bold move, and we do need such bold movers when you look at the vision of this country. Yeah. So we do need the bold moves, and I think it's something that can be done. I'm only worried about the time frame because it's like 2019, that is only 3 years. Yeah. But if we can give ourselves like more time, it's something that can be definitely done, and it's necessary, something that we need actually.
She says something that could be done 3 years down the road. Looking at all the policies down the road, do you think actually this is a realizable idea?
According to me, I think it's unrealistic. Like 3 years, in those 3 years will not be sufficient in terms of like having manufacturers, and also in terms of adjusting, like the community needs to adjust to made clothes that are made here in the region, because we are used to second-hand clothing, and also the way they are imported. I don't think it's something that has to be banned in like a 3 years time frame. So it's still a short period. If it could be given like 10 to 15 years, I think that could be realistic, but 3 years, it's still...
Henry, the lady argues time frame, and leave alone time frame. Let's talk about even the realistic ways of implementation in terms of policy, in terms of industrialization. This is an economical debate. We also have to put that in mind. Do you actually, in one word, think that the East African community has the right capacity to be able to supply this same community that they're trying to take out the second-hand clothes in just 3 years?
I'll go back to one of the facts back in Kenya. In Kenya, they tried to do that back in the 80s, to be able to raise the local people's factories in as far as textile was concerned. But they realized they couldn't afford to supply their very own market, the Kenyan market itself. Later on, looking at the region itself. So I think even the industrialization policy in the region itself is a bit questionable, because in it, among the first key 6 points, there is nothing to do with textile.
So the textile industry is non-existent already?
Absolutely, yes.
So in any one of the other 3 years down the road, you think there could not be?
I think 3 years down the road, there could not be a success in this endeavor, because even back in the years, in the 80s, they weren't able to be successful. However, this would be my view. If they wanted it to be something that can be successful, they would, first of all, think about the time frame, but secondly, think about what to be done in the time frame. One, I would think that they would still have to use second-hand textile, as well as developing their industries progressively, because this is not something that you can do spontaneously in a very short period of time.
Yes. Maybe bringing it to you, would you say that maybe Henry's doubts are more of, just fearful, because it takes a lot to go out of your comfortable zone and implement something like this that has been there for generations? Do you think do you agree with him that it's a very ambitious plan? 3 years down the road is very fast. We need to take off some time, develop the manufacturing industry. Or you think this is the right time, since they say the East African community is now the biggest actually growing economy within other regions?
Yeah, thank you very much. Just like I said before, it is bold, it is ambitious, but it's something that if executed rightly, it can be done. I mean, he's worried about maybe the supply, maybe of raw materials and such, how that has been done in the past and how it failed. But then you have to know that, well, it's not like when we ban the second-hand clothes, we're only going to rely on our industries. There still is the import of new clothes from maybe China and everywhere. Then maybe later we can close the borders and our customs and be like, oh, it's only going to be our industries. But for the time being, we can still rely on the new clothes from abroad, China or India or Bangladesh or everywhere. So it's something that has to be done gradually. I agree to that. But then the second-hand clothes, just as he mentioned himself, they are very cheap. And when you bring them into our market, it's something that you cannot say, even if you give yourself the 15 years, if you leave them in the market, the industry cannot grow.
Yes. Now bringing it, well, Henry, I know we want to come back with a knockout there, but first, before we even go on to you, she mentioned something very serious, which is, we can actually do more importing from countries like China and all the other countries. The main intention of this same resolution was to help the local manufacturing industry develop. And we know that importation from China comes at a cheaper price. Importation from Bangladesh and all other Asian countries, normally we trade with, come at a cheaper price. Do you actually think this is the right plan for her to say we can actually trade with all these countries that bring in their clothes at even a cheaper price, or it is just a fragmented idea?
So if I focus on that idea, even like if we still import those clothes from China and from India and other places, we are still having a competition with our local manufacturers. So like is
competition bad in your own sense?
No, it's not bad. So what I mean is we are trying to raise our local manufacturers. And if you are still, like if our local manufacturers are still competing with outsiders, then I don't think it will grow on the scale that we want it to grow to. So the need is if we want to really raise our local manufacturers to the extent that we need. First of all, we have to look at how many people are going to be employed in that manufacturing industry, because most people are relying on second-hand clothing, be it in selling, be it in like the income that they get from those. So if you consider on the local manufacturing industries, how many people are going to be employed, and also what's the quality. If you compare the quality of our local manufacturers and those from India and China, what's the quality standard, and also the prices.
Yeah.
So there are lots of things to focus on, let alone the imports from other countries, let alone the people. Just also the
exactly. Now, of course, Henry, we're out of time, unfortunately, but I would love to know your final remarks on this same issue. She says we still have certain things to focus on. She says there are other better options. Even she argues the timeline. What is your final conclusion in just a few seconds?
Human Development Index is a factor when you talk about the industrialization policy.
Yeah.
The factories themselves, they need economical funding, and these people that will be operating those machines in the textile industry need to be people that are resourceful.
Yeah.
That means that you're ruling out the people that were actually in the business of second-hand clothes, which is a very huge population. Go to Kampala, go to Kenya, Nairobi, come here to Kigali, there is a huge number of people employed there.
Yeah.
So I think that my general conclusion would be this industrialization policy should first of all be revised in relation to the banning, and then secondly, apart from that, they should even revise the human resource development of the people that are going to be unemployed.
We'll wrap up the talk from there, and I'd love to thank you so much for making out your time and joining us in the studio today. We hope to have you, and of course for our viewers back at home and everywhere you are, make sure you join up the debate. You can go over to our Twitter handle at Rise and Shine RW and let us know about what you think on this same topic. You've been watching Rise and Shine Rwanda, the story of the day with me, Ivan Magwene. Stay with us. Chantal Uwea will be up next with business.
Here is to traveling and saving. Starting 1st of April to the 1st of June, travel with RwandAir and take advantage of our reduced fares and enjoy our world-class services in great comfort and safety.
Fly our dream to the heart of Africa.
Welcome back. Time now for your business stories. I'm Chantal Uwera. Poultry farmers have welcomed a new hatchery inaugurated in Musanze, saying it will not only bring prices down, but also help them to have healthy and productive chicks. The hatchery Easy Hatch opened last week in Muhoza sector, Musanze district, and is owned by South African businessman Themba Mashinini. The Kenyan Parliament has recommended a steep increase in kerosene taxes to eliminate its use in the adulteration of petroleum. The punitive move was taken after the National Assembly Energy Committee learned that Kenya had lost 100% of the Rwandan petroleum export market and 30% of the Ugandan market because of rampant adulteration. Japanese authorities have raided the headquarters of Suzuki as part of an ongoing probe into the car maker's use of improper fuel economy tests. Officials were looking for documents which would support the company's previous claims that it had not meant to deceive car buyers. Have you ever been stuck somewhere while you're trying to call your cab guy and he's busy, or even worse, he's too far and you need to be at your next appointment? Fortunately, we do have 250 Taxi in Rwanda, but before we go into the details, let's take a look at how it works. 250 Taxi has come as a solution to many Rwandans in terms of transport. With all the specifications filled in the 250 phone app, your taxi is on your doorstep in just 5 minutes.
easy and efficient, you get to enjoy your comfortable ride. Wera Chantal, Rise and Shine Randa.
So what you're trying to say is I have to call my taxi using my phone.
Yes.
So how does that work?
Well, as long as you have a smartphone. And
I have a smartphone. People can actually. It's not just an iPhone. It's an iPhone, not even a smartphone.
Just
we
a
can
smartphone,
go.
Okay, all we need is just a smartphone,
Okay.
whether it's iPhone or Nokia or anything. So you go to Google Play and
Google Play.
download the 250 Taxi app.
Google Play. Now, of course, I'll go to. Does that mean it also has the iOS for Apple products?
Yeah, it does,
Okay.
and for Windows, it's going to be launched soon.
All right. So after that, you download it?
You download it, then you can, of course, it comes and it shows you all the specifications that you need to know. So it locates the nearest cabs.
Yeah, I can actually
from
see
where
that.
you are. So you put your address where you are, then you can locate the nearest cab.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, so that makes it different from Uber, where you have to just call just a car that is close to you.
Yes,
This one has to be
yes.
like a licensed taxi man who
Yes.
just comes for you.
Yeah, actually, those are people who are employed by the company.
Okay.
So they can always get a message when you need them
All right.
immediately.
Okay. So that means, do they show you also the time in which the person is coming to pick you up?
Yes. If a person is 10 minutes away, then you know
All right.
they'll be there shortly.
Okay.
So, and it's actually much better because you get to know how long you're going to wait. It's not
Okay.
like calling the usual cab
right.
and ask them to come and they tell you we're in jam or anything.
Okay.
So it's actually perfect.
All right, I just ordered one cab to come for me, and I guess they'll be on their way. So thanks for that, and thanks for people. Now you can have it. Of course, you can just have, is it 250 taxi, and just go call on
Right
the
on
taxi.
your doorstep in minutes.
All right, there you have it. You don't have to say we don't have Uber. It's not Uber. We have our very own 250 taxi. Go out there and, of course, enjoy. Now, right now, I just go have to take my cab for now. Goodbye.
You just say bye, and then you're coming back to say bye.
Welcome back. Time now for your sports news with me, Stephen Kalimba. Boxing fraternity reacts to changes in the IBA laws. IBA, the World Amateur Boxing Federation, has allowed professional boxers on Wednesday to fight in the Rio Olympics and banned the use of headgears, which has caused reactions globally. Tom Nkusi, the rubber spokesman, said it is a challenge because it would pit amateur fighters against professionals. However, it would give a chance for them to raise their standards. However, Charles Muvunyi of Kigali Life Boxing Club said it wouldn't have effects because the laws have changed and players are protected by referees. In tennis, world number 1 Novak Djokovic beats Britain's Andy Murray in the French Open title. Djokovic beat Murray in 3-1 to win his 12th major career title. Murray, who has lost 5 finals to Djokovic, played well, but to take the first set, but couldn't keep it up in the second set, and Djokovic took control to win the remaining sets in 3 hours. The Serb described the win as a special moment and that he had felt the love of the crowd. He becomes only the 8th man in history to have won all 4 Grand Slams. And in the NBA, Golden State Warriors trample over Cleveland Cavaliers 2-double lead. Draymond Green scored 28 points as the Warriors beat the Cavs 110-77 to take a 2-0 series lead in the NBA Finals. Steph Curry had a quiet night, adding 18 points and 9 rebounds, but it was enough for the defending champions. Cavs forward LeBron James, who scored 19 points, said the Warriors had beaten them at everything. The Cavs won the first game 104-89. There you had it in sports. Peace Quizera is up next with lifestyle.
Here is to traveling and saving. Starting 1st of April to the 1st of June, travel with Rwandair and take advantage of our reduced fares and enjoy our world-class services in great comfort and safety.
Fly our dream to the heart of Africa.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine. It's time for Lifestyle with me, Peace Quizera. Now, from time to time, we have seen his designs on different celebrities and always wondered who was behind the very creative high couture fashion line, Motions. Today, we take our time to get in touch with the man himself, Moses Turahirwa. But before we go any further, let's take a look at what we compiled for you.
Moses Turahirwa is a model as well as a fashion designer who owns a fashion line well known as Motions. Being a model, he participated in various competitions like Mr. IPRC, which he won, and Mr. Africa, which was held in Lagos, Nigeria in 2015, where he emerged as the second runner-up. Moses was born in Rwanda in 1991 and studied at the Integrated Polytechnic Regional Center in Kigali in the Faculty of Water and Sanitation Engineering. He later started modeling in 2010 after he was chosen as the Mr. IPRC, which was his university. Later, he launched his fashion label, Motions, in 2014, and so far has participated in different fashion shows like Kigali Fashion Week, Swahili Fashion Week in Tanzania, ASFA 2015 in Uganda, where he also got awarded different awards. We have seen some of his designs on celebrities like the Urban Boys and Man Marté and very many others. We got a chance to catch up with him at the World Economic Forum's Fashion Friday. Let's take a look.
Okay, my name is Moses, as you said. I'm the founder of Motions, based in Rwanda. I operate from Kigali. Then my fashion brand is a bit unique with artistic way. I do video costume for films, and I do different outfits for the fashion shows. I'm much more into creative industry, into fashion.
Now, if we talk about the World Economic Forum, have you gained much from it?
Well, I would say World Economic Forum, it was really great, a very great opportunity, mostly in people in the creative industry, like fashion, because we got to know different people. Today was a Fashion Friday. There was a panel talking about fashion, how fashion designer would grow, like Africa fashion would go like globally. So I would say I met different important people in the fashion industry that can boost our career. So I'm really grateful for World Economic Forum.
Where do you see the fashion industry, or where do you see it going in the next 5 to 10 years?
Where I see the fashion industry, it's really growing. From me, in that experience in between 5 years, where it was, it's not where it is now. We're having different fashion events promoting fashion, both model and designers, because of those key points in fashion industry. So we're having the fashion shows, we're having the exhibitions, we're having new brands coming up. So there is really hope that the future for Rwandan fashion industry is bright. We need to build our own Paris.
And joining me in studio today is the man himself, Moses Turahirwa. Welcome to studio, Moses.
Thank you very much. Please.
All right. So I think many people at home are wondering, you know, what is Motions? Where did that name come from? It's one of a kind.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how you came up with the name.
Oh, great. Motions is my fashion line, which means Moses and plus fashions.
Fashion.
So that combination gives us motions.
It's like a mashup of Moses fashions.
Yeah,
oh my
like
God.
That. Well, I just wanted to combine many stuff because I started as a model, then modeling with to the fashion design. Then I just covered the whole name like Moses Fashions, so which is Motions. Yeah.
Of course, that's really interesting. I wish everyone would come up, but you know, some of our names would not even, you know, be compatible with fashion.
It also took time to figure out and to realize like I can put it the name like Motions.
But to tell you, it really came out right.
Thank you very much.
All right. So everyone must be wondering, you know, where did, you know, you're famous for the Mitero. It's one of a kind. It's one of the designs that we all look at and we want to dress, you know, in. Especially if it's kind of for everyone. It's for women. It's high, you know, high fashion. It's all kinds of things that you want to wear.
Yeah.
Where did you come up with the idea? Did you go to school to get something? Did you just sleep and dream? Where did you get the idea of coming up with, you know, the Mitero?
I'll talk like about Mitero, the way I came up with such idea. You know, when I got into fashion design, I was like, I need to be creative. I need to bring up something which, you know, which people don't use to see. Like, I need something different, something unique. Then I thought about that because I love fashion and I love, you know, the creativity industry, but also I related to like the local culture and something. So Mitero was something like a hanging cloth on the shoulder. It used to be like a royal, like in the 90s or 16s, royalty family used to have like Mitero. Then I wanted something like that, but in a very good traditional way, but also modern. Then I work on, you know, like improving it, the way it can look modern in a modern industry, in a fashion way, but also that recovers like the local culture, our Rwandan culture.
So you met tradition with modern.
Yes.
And
so
just blended it.
Yes.
You know.
So I can use it on both female and male outfits, and it always look great.
It is amazing. I mean, I should tell you myself, but I have seen, and I would get. I wish I could get something myself.
Of course, and you're getting one soon.
All right. So I think everyone would be wondering, what is the way forward? You know, with you being a designer, you've modeled before. You represented Rwanda in Mr. Africa, where you were second runner-up.
I
think I should hire for you.
Thank you very much.
But, you know, that is such a great step for a designer, stroke a model. But what is the way forward? Of course, you've had your modeling career, you've had everything going on. You just maybe started. You started in 2014. But what's the way forward? It's only 2 years since. So just give us a little bit. What's the way forward from now?
Okay, thank you very much. That's a good question. You know, I've been in the industry, mostly in the fashion industry in Rwanda for 5 years. Because as I told you, I started as a model. Then after I started concentrating myself on my designs, you know, I've launched the different collections. collections in Kigali Fashion Week, Swahili Fashion Week, A-Brands in Kampala, and also get privileged to represent my country in Mr. Africa, where I won the second run-up. So the way forward for me is now, no, I'm not much focusing on modeling career because I've stepped into the fashion design and I see it's really going good. People are liking my designs, are loving my outfits. So the way forward for me is always to expose my designs, expose my work. And in that way, I would say like participating in most of fashion shows, like we're having the upcoming Kigali Fashion Week. I'm one of the organizers and we're working very hard to put it out is a good thing. And after, I would say like I'm also invited to the Mercedes-Benz Africa Fashion Festival, which is happening in Accra, Ghana, from 1st to 3rd July.
Amazing.
So that's something else I'm working on, and I'm putting out like a new collection. My new collection are always having themes, and you know, in an artistic way. If I'm inspired with this, I always put the concepts out. So for me, the way forward is mostly focusing on my work in fashion design, always coming up with something new. As we saw Muitero, I'm thinking of coming up with something else. Yeah, which is also interesting.
Yes.
So yeah.
Well, this is really exciting, and of course we hope to see you in the show. But before we conclude and we go further, where can someone find you? Your location, where is your store? Maybe if you have one, or if you're sharing space, or social media, where can we find different? Just talk to our viewers and just let them know where to find you.
Well, starting from social medias, I'm a very good person. I use mostly social medias to expose my stuff, and all of my collection are social medias and Instagram, Facebook, or my website, or under Motions. And I have a studio. We have a motion studio where we operate from. We have the tailors, we have the showroom that is in Gikondo, behind the new building of Intersex Security. It's just there. It's near the road. You can see it. And I think that is it. And I have my phone on social media. Once you want to contact me, you can write me on Facebook or directly on Instagram. I think that is
Thank you so much for coming in, and we hope to have you in studio again every other, especially if you come back from the fashion show in
then we'll
Ghana.
Be giving you
more details.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you very much, peace, and thank you for having me.
All right. Okay, so there you had it from Moses himself, and of course you can go ahead and follow our Twitter page where you can catch every single detail that you need to know about Moses himself. But that is all we had for Lifestyle today. We'll be right back after the break. Well, that is all we had for you for today's show. But don't forget, we love to hear your thoughts, comments, and feedback on what you're talking about here on Rise and Shine Rwanda. Tweet us at Rise and Shine RW. Like us on our Facebook page, and do send us your ideas for the program. Check out our Rise and Shine YouTube page where you can catch all the shows and the reports that we do. And please subscribe. Find us on Instagram. That's where you can catch every single thing that we do. And please endeavor to send your pics. We love to see those. And lastly, go ahead and check out our website, which is where you can catch every single thing from on stage to behind set. Of course, I am Peace Quizera.
And I am Ivan Magwene. We'll be at same time, same place tomorrow. We hope you had a good time as we're presenting over.
Definitely.
Sure, it was great.
All right, so of course it's a new week. I hope you have new goals and new ambitions, and that's what we have for you today. We'll be at same time, same place tomorrow. Do join us then, but for now, it's goodbye.
Goodbye.